Archbishop Gomez. Much love and many blessings to you. This is Jennifer A. Bear again. This is the second video message that I'm making for you today on Monday, the week before Holy Week. I know you're very busy, and I know that all Catholics, especially the Archbishop, is extremely busy during Holy Week. I'm not asking to meet with you during Holy Week. I'm asking to meet with you this week as soon as possible at the Chancery Building, the Archdiocese headquarters in Los Angeles, to meet with you and the 5 Roman Catholic priests who have severely hurt me, abused me, really, degraded me, dishonored me, disrespected me, humiliated me, exploited me. I'm a beautiful and blessed woman of God. I'm a daughter of God. I'm a bride of Christ. And I'm a beautiful and blessed mother of God's beloved children. My daughter, Audrey Maria, who just turned 15 on March 16th. And my daughter, Grace Emma, who's turning 13 on April 28th. They're named after our Blessed Mother. They're named after Saint Audrey and Saint Grace, after princesses. Saint Audrey was a princess, and Grace was Grace Kelly, and they're also named after Grace Kelly and Audrey Hepburn. So we are actresses, singers, and aspiring models. And I do believe that we just got signed with a major School of Performing Arts in Los Angeles a couple months ago. And I do believe that God has big plans for us in Hollywood to share our gifts and talents that He's blessed us with to help make the world a better place, to convert Hollywood maybe into Catholicism, because our Catholic Church, as you know, is a universal church, and it's for everybody. It is for every single person in this world. We don't discriminate, of course, and we welcome all. All are welcome, and yet I've been kicked out of 3 parishes in the LA Archdiocese. And I will just say that what kicked all of this off, what started all of this abuse, is that I was severely abused by Father Jerry Caba, very famous priest. He lived in Los Angeles for 10 years before he became a priest. He won a Grammy with the YN's Let My People Go album, produced by Quincy Jones. Anyway, he lives in Southwest Florida, he lived in Cape Coral, Florida when I met him at 18 years old, singing in a talent competition. I'm not going to go into all the details, but he hurt me very badly, and I reported him to the Diocese of Venice in 1995. I was practically left for dead. They did nothing about it. They just said never talk to him again, never talk to his brother John again, who was 25 years older than me, who Father Jerry set me up with when I was 20, and he raped me, and then they flew me out to LA for 3 weeks after 3 weeks after Father Jerry broke the news to me that my brother George committed suicide. Today is the anniversary of his death. I'm praying that he's in heaven, as I've been praying for the repose of his soul for all these years. But I was in LA for an entire week alone with John and Father Jerry, drinking wine. Supposedly Father Jerry watched us have sex, from what John said. It was really bad. I mean, he said he would always love me, and we'd always be in each other's lives. That was a lie. But I do believe that he sincerely cared about me. If it wasn't for him, I wouldn't have probably been involved in the church for as many years as I have as a cantor, Eucharistic minister, catechist, Catholic singer, songwriter. I do feel that he was very instrumental in that, but he hurt me and he never apologized. But that's beside the fact. I know you can't do anything about that, but I have been kicked out of my choir of 20 years in 2018. I was, like I said, I left the church for 2 years in New York City. When I moved to New York City when I was 21 to go to Lee Strasberg Theater Institute, and that's right after I moved there. I reported Father Jerry in August of 1995, and like I said, they did nothing about it. They sent him to counseling, but they didn't send me to counseling. They didn't offer healing, reconciliation, nothing. They didn't ask Father Jerry to apologize to me, nothing. They left me for dead practically, and they said good luck in school and just never talk to him again. We're sending him to counseling, never talk to his brother, never go to the parish, and one day you're going to look back at all of this and laugh. I never laughed about it. It wasn't funny. But anyways, Archbishop Gomez, my earring fell out, sorry. I moved to LA in 1997. My mom's friend was the head of RCIA at the time. She's now in heaven. She was an amazing woman. She kept reaching out to me because she knew how depressed I was. And she kept saying, there's a place for you in the church. God loves you. Come to church. And I did. I started attending daily mass in Chatsworth, California, the only Catholic parish in Chatsworth. I'm not going to say who the pastor is now because he's arrested me about 6 times. He's had me arrested 6 times, took a restraining order out against me for 3 years. I did nothing to him. I didn't abuse him. I didn't threaten him, but he said he was afraid of me. But anyway, and he kicked me out of my parish. But we'll get to that in a moment. I became very involved. I was going to daily mass in 1998. I became a Eucharistic minister at mass and to the sick and homebound for almost 20 years. I did little mini not masses, but like a mass, at the convalescent home for 10 years. I would lay my hands on the patients and bring healing to them. I became a choir member with the adult and contemporary choir for 20 years, a cantor for 7 years with the contemporary choir, a catechist for 7 years, and I gave a Bible study facilitator, and I gave 2 concerts of my own music there. I'm a professional singer-songwriter. As I said in my last video, my music is on Spotify, iTunes, Amazon, YouTube under the name Jennifer Grace and the Starry Eyes. I did come out with my album in 2010. My ex-husband was my musical partner at the time, and we're no longer. I left him in 2011. I was only married for 2.5 years because he physically abused me when I was pregnant with my daughter Audrey, and he emotionally abused me, and I believe he was unfaithful to me and cheated on me. But anyway, I was very involved, and then I left the church when I didn't leave. I stopped going to church for a little bit. I didn't stop going to church. I left my ministries after a little bit after I got married, and my daughter said in 2016, Mom, you love to sing. Why don't you go back to the choir? There was a new choir director, a new pastor. The pastor said, oh, you could cantor, just talk to the choir director. I met with him. I gave him my CD. He never acknowledged me. He never, said either way if I could cantor or not. And after 2 years, I was very frustrated. I said, I really need the money. I'm a Catholic, I'm a single mom. I emailed him, said, if you're not going to even get back to me about this, I'm going to have to let the Archdiocese know. I had a friend there. I almost became a nun in 1998 or 1999 at 25 years old with the Sisters of the Company, Mary and Tustin. One of the sisters worked at the Archdiocese, and I said, I'm going to have to let them know. I got kicked out of my choir by Father Lawrence Goodwin, who I don't think is even a priest anymore, but they did say, and apparently you wrote a letter to the choir members saying if I ever come near the choir room or talk to the choir members to call the police. I was very hurt by that. Shortly after that, I wrote you a letter, and to the vicar of clergy, and my daughters wrote letters to you begging for me to come back, and you never responded, and I was very hurt by that. But I met you 3 years ago on my birthday, the Feast of Our Lady, Queen of the Angels, at the Cathedral Our Lady of the Angels, when the relics of St. Bernadette were there. And I asked you for a special birthday blessing after Mass, and you gave it to me, and I took a selfie with you. But anyways, Archbishop Gomez, they did say that I could go back to my parish in Chatsworth, perhaps, when the new pastor came. He's the pastor now. I called 3 times. He never got back to me. I did have a manic episode at the church. I went there to talk to him about rejoining the choir, about an annulment, and about some other things. And I went in and I took some selfies. He followed me out to the garden. He didn't say I couldn't come back there, but I got kicked out of the parish for no reason at all. He arrested me 5 or 6 times. Before that, the priest in Beverly Hills, he kicked me out of that parish for no reason at all. When I went there after I got evicted, he had promised me $2,000 from the Cardinal McIntyre Fund, and he let me get evicted and told me to sleep in my car, and then kicked me out of the parish. The pastor at Our Lady of Lourdes in Northridge also kicked me out of that parish after being there for a year and seeing him in spiritual direction for a year because I had a manic episode. I want to meet with you and these priests this week so I can offer them forgiveness. Please contact